In Italy, it's the opposite. You actually get approved first. That initial approval takes, say, 2 to 3 months. And at that stage, it's a done deal. Authorities are happy with you. They're happy with the investment you've chosen. Only then do you invest. And within a couple of months after investing, you're holding your card, your golden visa residency card. So it's a quicker process. It's a more transparent process, less surprises. So it makes a lot of sense.
I'm delighted today to be talking to Michael Maxwell from Ariete Capital about some of the key trends in global mobility. Welcome to you, Michael.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here today.
Global mobility, I think, is the hottest topic in the wealth sector today. It's something I'm continually having conversations with because clients are looking at the world in a certain way. Advisors are having to adapt. How are you seeing the global mobility landscape? What's driving clients and what are the key trends that you're observing?
Yeah, so optionality is a real buzzword, global mobility, people looking at something not only for themselves, but possibly a legacy position for their children. And that's one of the really cool things about what we do is that this is not a donation, it's an investment that's going to have positive impacts on future generations. In some situations, you're doing something today that will impact on the life of your unborn grandchildren, potentially. And if you're looking to take a step back and de-risk from life generally, it should really start with get yourself a second residency, ideally a second passport. People now are taking it as far as not only looking at Europe, they'll do Europe together with something non-European, a Panama, Paraguay, Botswana. There's so many countries that are offering this sort of thing.
What kind of benefit is it giving, like stacking one on top of the other? Why is that decision being made, do you think?
Well, you just don't know where things are going to go these days. You got so many, we're in such a state of flux with global leadership, AI coming in, NATO, who knows what's happening with NATO, who knows what's going to happen with the EU. There's so many of those fundamental pillars that have sort of held us together for so many years post the Second World War that are now under threat and potentially changing. So Europe is great, Europe is wonderful, but maybe take it a step forward further and look at something else as well.
And where are you seeing demand coming from? How is that evolving over time?
So historically, you'd talk very frequently to people from the likes of Turkey, South Africa, Brazil. Since COVID, you're getting a lot more people from the UK, because of Brexit as well, the US and Canada. A lot of it, I think, is that sort of baby boomer generation that's retiring, looking at enjoying their retirement in sunnier locations or places that are different, sort of art, history, culture. So that's a real trend.
And they have sufficient wealth. They don't necessarily see themselves as the ultra high net worth, is it? It's more a mass affluent play, like someone in the US with a property, with a pension, with some savings.
Correct.
All of a sudden they can qualify for these programs and make them work, can't they? And open up a lifestyle.
Look at Italy, where you can qualify for 250,000 euros. That is fantastic value to get the best of Italy.
Yeah.
So if you are a retired American or Canadian sitting on some decent savings, a good family property, you're at that 60 plus age, you're not doing this for your children in that they're not dependents anymore. They've got their own life and they're blazing their own trail. And you're not doing it looking to get a passport in the future, in that, all programs now are taking, in Europe at least, heading towards a 10-year, 12-year timeline. And that a passport in 10 years' time is going to change your life. You want something quick, something accessible that gets you to where you want to be. And for most people, the center of their European dream tends to be Italy.
And lifestyle-wise, I guess these clients from Canada or the US can spread time over in Italy. It's a number of months a year. It's not has to be all or nothing, doesn't it? They don't have to fully relocate, but they can just get the best of both. Is that how do you see it from a lifestyle perspective? Successful cases playing out.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's a plan A if you want it to be, a plan B all the time. And you are seeing clients, especially in Italy, relocating there, at least spending 3, 4, 5 months a year there, making a base for their family there as well, for enjoyment, for grandkids to fly over and spend European summers, in a different place than where they'd traditionally be. But still have the flexibility in that there's no staying requirements in Italy for an investor visa to head back home for milestone moments, graduations, birthdays, things like that.
And there's more European programs kind of coming on the table, as it were. I mean, Portugal's a fairly classic one. How do you see the Portuguese visa options being used? How do they contrast with other options on the table?
So I think if clients have an end goal of getting a European passport, even with the potential of Portugal now taking 10 years or more to that, it's probably still the right option in that it's a full plan B to achieve that. 7 days a year for 10 years, improve your language, your Portuguese language skills, and you have that ability to apply for citizenship. If it's not about the passport, there are certainly other alternatives which in many ways stand out. Italy's obviously a big focus on what we do. And what I particularly like about Italy compared to Portugal, where in Portugal you'd invest first, hurry up and invest, and then you'd wait and wait and wait 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Okay, the authorities are getting quicker, but you then wait to get approved after the investment. And while you're waiting, rules can change, okay, as we've learned the hard way. In Italy, it's the opposite. You actually get approved first. That initial approval takes, say, 2 to 3 months. And at that stage, it's a done deal. Authorities are happy with you. They're happy with the investment you've chosen. Only then do you invest. And within a couple of months after investing, you're holding your card, your golden visa residency card. So it's a quicker process. It's a more transparent process, less surprises. So it makes a lot of sense. And once again, 250,000 euros for the best of Italy. Unlimited staying requirements. You can live there, you can work there, you can study there. In Greece, for example, you did their program. You can't work in Greece. And Italy can access public healthcare, public education. That's a lot of really good value.
And what are the entry routes then? I mean, I know you've pioneered the space here around the investment for Italian purposes. So perhaps you could tell us a little bit more about the entry routes and how clients looking at these options can.
So there are quite a few options, from a few million into government bonds. Where we're operating is in the 500,000 euro space, where we've set up an audited private investment company that will invest into your leading Italian corporate bonds and your leading blue chip equities. It's pretty much the best of Italy, or the heart of the Italian economy on investment plates. Companies that have stood the test of time, legacy companies that are still there today, largely producing tangible goods of global need. DeLonghi, Pirelli, Brembo, Brunelli, San Lorenzo, Technogym, Ferrari. These are the sorts of companies that stand out in the portfolio that anyone in the world will know and anyone will respect. So with that option, yes, it is 500,000 euros, but there's no minimum holding period before you can receive dividends or potentially have some liquidity to get out if you should have a change of heart. We then do an innovative startup at 250,000 euros. Where you'd assume higher risk, but we've taken certain steps and measures to mitigate that substantially. There is an innovative component which potentially could become very valuable at the same time that might not go anywhere, but the bulk of the investment is into regulated financial products that clients would understand that hedge the business risk. So you get the benefit of the low entry point of an innovative startup without exposure to the business risk. Because if the business failed, you'd lose your visa and have to invest elsewhere potentially.
And what are the key considerations between the different options that you see when people are trying to make a decision between the different routes? What does it often come down to?
It comes down to the need of dividends or liquidity from the investment, but also how people look at the opportunity cost on the extra 250. Okay, so it's mainly that.
Well, thank you for talking to me today, Michael. Fascinating, fast-moving space. So I encourage people to follow you and your company to find out more about the latest information.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure working with you, and we're likely to come back. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.